I want to thank Chief Justice Rabner and Judge Grant and all of those who have worked to get us here today. I know that we are seeing the top half of the duck and that the furious paddling is actually what got us here. So thank you all for your work. The legal community has gathered this week to speak about creating something different. As Thoreau put it, if you build castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. It is a great honor to be a part of foundation building. I hope that the ACLU of New Jersey submitted comments in which we set forth a vision for comprehensive changes in our jury selection process will be seen as a solid contribution to that project of construction. That being said, I do want to focus my testimony today on some of the bricks that are missing from that foundation. We are gathered here, lawyers, judges, the entire legal community, to enhance public respect for our criminal justice system and the rule of law by ensuring that no one is disqualified from jury service because of race or other impermissible considerations. But what is mostly missing from these rooms are the jurors. I'm thrilled that William Snowden spoke earlier this week about the experiences of qualified jurors who are excluded through peremptory challenges. And I want to reiterate the impact and importance of those experiences in guiding the bricklaying that we are doing here. The Constitution's promise is not only to the criminal defendant, but to the juror. Unfortunately, the constitutional right extended is another constitutional right that has been systematically denied. Indeed, the reasons for Thurgood Marshall's rejection of peremptories remain. And the rebuttal that peremptories are the equalizer for defendants displays its own biases. The energy we dispense towards keeping peremptories would perhaps be better directed in creating more diverse jury pools so that the peremptory challenge could never effectively purge diverse jurors because there would always be more diverse jurors available than peremptory strikes. We too often prefer the lawyer's power of social engineering, this gerrymandering of the jury pool, to inviting more people into the door, more people into the box, and more into the exercise of the individual's constitutional entitlement. We see the process as war games rather than a democratic exercise involving human beings whose participation is the reason for our work and not the annoying distraction from it. For many people of color, true inclusion in the legal process is not a familiar feeling, whether as a litigant, a lawyer, or a defendant. And the relentless use of the peremptory as a tool of exclusion is felt. It is recognized. It causes damage. And perhaps we should have more diverse juries if perhaps we would have more diverse juries if individuals did not know through lived and shared experiences, that the fact of who they are is too often seen by legal professionals as unsuitable. We send subtle messages about worthiness that are picked up and that once again tell people of color that the project of democracy is not for us. I tried very hard to bring FG, the man at the heart of the Andujar appeal, to be here today. I unfortunately failed in that attempt, but I had hoped that he would be here to speak to everyone so that his experience would be witnessed and made unerringly, painfully clear. I thought in his presence that we could underscore that at the end of every for-cause or peremptory challenge is a person. I thought in his presence, we could be clear that the harm that FG experienced started way earlier than the moment of his arrest. It flared when the prosecutor articulated her cause challenge through the imputation of innate criminality to FG because he had the audacity to have the lived experience of many Black men in Newark and not those of many white men from Milburn. And I want to once again underscore and keep in mind the data that Akil Rogers shared with us this morning. Because FG had friends who had touches with the criminal justice system, the prosecutor argued that those friendships, and I'm quoting her here, draw into question whether he respects the criminal justice system, whether he respects what his role is here, and whether he is going to uphold all of the principles that he was instructed to by your honor, unquote. I am sure that such reasoning has not and will not be applied to the friends and family of Michael Matthews or Charles Cullen or Teresa Giudice. when they, or if they are called to jury duty. As Dr. Glaude put it on Wednesday, quoting James Baldwin, we have to tell as much of the truth as we can bear and then a little more. Our courtrooms too often cause trauma to people of color and particularly to Black people. We rarely state plainly what those harms are, and we are so often unable to understand or perceive that these harms are happening at all. As we move jurors around, as we blithely ask them to reveal their personal horrors and pains on questionnaires, as we ask them to publicly discuss with strangers what makes them who they are, and we ask them to make themselves intimately vulnerable within and to a system that so often abuses them. I ask that as part of our foundation building, we start to incorporate the humanity of these individuals into this process. And seeing jurors in their fullness, we not only create a fairer process for the litigants, but we begin the process of bridging the gulf that has made courtrooms the site of unspeakable pain. We make the constitutional promise real for people at a time when so many of those promises, already so tenuous, are under unrelenting and increasing attack. We make the project of democracy one for all in deed, not just in word. The system under which we function is centuries old. It took centuries to manicure and maintain the multiple supremacies that it was formed to uphold. But we need to radically engage with the principles we have been given. And I use radical in the meaning of it, in its meaning from the Latin radix, the branch or the root. It is these roots and branches that we must nurture along. The broken places will not be resolved in weeks or months, maybe not years, but we are here to build castles. And we live in a time where that process has infinite assists, the benefit of technology, of awareness, of emotional intelligence. We can bring new tools to old materials, or as my mother used to say, stay on crooked and cut straight. We can create new worlds. Thank you.